This is my usual introduction. This is me. This is the title of today's Zoom meeting. It's the new credit scoring model. We're talking about FICO 10 and FICO 10T. There's actually two of them. We're going to get into that. And it's pretty much a major problem for a lot of us. A lot of customers, potential customers for me, and I'm sure whomever deals with mortgages, loans, credit cards, there's a lot of changes. So what I'm going to talk about are these points here, which are the consumer credit scoring systems. Very, very briefly, I'll talk about the difference between Vantage and FICO, but overall, we're going to talk about FICO. The different FICO scores, what FICO scores lenders are using, understanding FICO, the 10T and the 10, how it will affect you, what they are saying about FICO, and my thoughts, solutions, and then any Q&A at the end. I probably will use a pointer, a laser pointer, just so you can, especially when we get to the chart, so you can clearly see which FICO score I'm talking about. So right now we're going to talk about FICO versus Vantage. What is the difference? So this, hopefully you can see this chart clearly, but FICO, it's always been about FICO. Most companies use FICO scoring systems. This is how they calculate the FICO score, their credit score. Vantage is FICO's one and only competitor. So this has only been out, I want to say about 10 years. FICO has been out way before that. I think if I'm not mistaken, the late 60s, if I'm not mistaken. Their scoring systems are a little different. FICO, if you want to know your true FICO scores, I always encourage my customers to purchase myfico.com because you can see all your credit scores, not just one. A lot of banks, I know mine do, I think they just show Experian. But obviously when you're trying to purchase a home, get a car, ask for any sort of credit, you need to get all of your credit scores. So yeah. But I would get on my FICO. Vantage score is what you see on Credit Karma, what you see on third-party monitoring companies like SmartCredit, Identity IQ, Sesame, what is it, Credit Sesame? And you'll notice a difference in score. Like for the most part, Vantage score is usually several points lower than your FICO score, just depending on what's going on. So I don't look at it as a true score. Not too many companies use it. I do know that a lot of people, when they're renting, some of the rental offices will use Vantage. So focusing back on FICO, just want to briefly point out the facts. FICO scores on average update every 5 years. I say this for a reason. Again, it has a lot to do with this whole conversation with Zoom. Our Zoom conversation is pretty important. Why I say it's every 5 years. Right now we're on FICO 10, but prior to that, obviously, it was a FICO 9, and prior to that is FICO 8. FICO is an independent data analytics company. It's separate from the 3 Bs, meaning TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. FICO is regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, also known as the abbreviated version, FTC, and Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB. Okay, so it's backed by those two entities. Now, these are the credit scores. This is why I needed to bring my laser pointer here so you can understand, see what's going on here. So these are the different types of FICO scores under Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You have everything from here, your FICO 2, all the way to your FICO 10, which is on the bottom here. And there's scores in between. Now, the only FICO score that is missing here is the FICO Classic. That's even older than FICO 2. So right now, if you were to purchase your MyFICO and then look at your credit report, it will instantly take you to your FICO 8 score. Your FICO 8 is a consumer score. It's not, as you can see, an auto credit score, credit card score. It's a very generic score. The way I explain it to my customers is you can have a pretty high, decent FICO 8 score and still have collections, still have late missed payments and everything like that. But FICO 8 really won't judge you too much, if that makes sense. So your score can look high on a FICO 8, but then when you go apply for a mortgage, which is a FICO Classic, which is not on here, FICO 2, a FICO 5 and 4, that's usually what the mortgage lenders look at. It's less forgiving than a FICO 8, FICO 9, and a FICO 10. What does that mean? So you can have slight negative accounts, like maybe one 30-day missed payment, or maybe a 60-day missed payment, or one collection, one charge off. Your score will drop drastically. They're very strict, very conservative. Okay. So the best thing to do if a customer is trying to purchase a home is to get negative items removed so it can show on the FICO Classic 2, 4, and 5, and so the score can go up. Okay, that's pretty important. And then you have your auto loan scores. As you can see here, it's 2, 8, 9. The only FICO scores that do not exist are FICO 6 and 7, if you'll notice that. So they don't exist for whatever reason. And then the credit card companies, they have their bank card scores, and all of these are drastically different. They're all different scores. So sometimes when clients think they're ready for a credit, a line of credit, a loan, what have you, they're more than likely looking at the wrong FICO score. Okay. And then we have the newly released FICO score, which is the FICO 10 and the FICO 10T. Now we're going to go into the FICO 10 and the FICO 10T. So the FICO 10 is basically the next FICO credit scoring system. However, it was released early. And if you can notice, when I put this here, I said it was established in 2020. Think about what happened in 2020. That's pretty important. Okay, 2020, what was going on was the pandemic, right? During the pandemic, we were already at a FICO 9. So we were, I think, 3 years into a FICO 9, and then they magically released FICO 10. So we're going to get into that as well, too, put a pin on it. But right now, it's a FICO 10. The difference between the two, I'm going to go over. It's not that much of a difference, but the slight difference is pretty major. It's a game changer. It's just crazy, crazy different. So FICO 10 is supposed to be even better at separating high-risk consumers from low-risk consumers. I mean, that's what the scoring system, the credit scores are for anyway. They're supposed to separate high risk from low risk, but they specifically perfected as best they could during the pandemic, the FICO 10. And they focus more too on credit card debt and whether or not you pay your credit cards down. Another thing that they don't really mention too much are missed payments. Missed payments are also major when it comes to the FICO 10. They've always been a thing. It's always been a problem. If you missed a payment here and there, your score would drop, but you could recover easily. Your score would gradually go up over time. You just want to make your ongoing payments on time, and eventually that missed payment fades away. Not with the FICO 10. I've seen people's credit score drop 80, 90 points just because they missed they have a 30-day missed payment. Okay. And like I said, the last thing, late reports will have more of a negative impact on your credit score. Yes, pretty bad. Now the FICO 10T, the difference is, so this T just means trending data, okay? And other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. So trending data, what do I mean by that? So what they're doing is they're actually going back in time and seeing by 2 years to see how you were when you were, how you were handling your credit 2 years ago. What was your credit score 2 years ago? How were you making payments 2 years ago? Were you on time? Was your credit utilization high 2 years ago, right? Did you have too much credit? Did you not have enough credit? So they're over analyzing you from 2 years ago, which is crazy. So I say this every time I do this video, and I have to do this often because so many people do not understand that the FICO 10T is out. They don't understand the fact that some companies are utilizing it and they don't understand why their credit has dropped drastically. And I will actually show you guys a live FICO so you can see the difference of all the scoring systems. But I tell people all the time, that's like, you know, back in the day when you were a kid in your high school, you might have been a player, or you might have been, you know, somewhat of a bad kid, I don't know. And then, you know, you used to wild out, act all crazy, but then you matured as you got older and you became a better person. And then you just became a better person moving forward, but you're still being judged by when you were a kid. That's what FICO 10T does. It's like, I don't care how hard you work to fix your credit today. That's not what we're going by. We're going to go in your past 2 years, and we're going to see how you used to be, and we're going to judge you, meaning giving you a credit score. We're going to judge you based off of how you used to be, and that's what your score is going to be today. That is the horrible. That's really horrible. But don't worry, I have a few solutions, but right now I'm just stating the facts. So what are they saying, right? So when this FICO 10T creeped out on the scene, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but when they creeped out onto the scene, there was no warning. Like I said, some people had great credit scores. A lot of people I worked with, they had great credit scores, and all of a sudden their score dropped. But the bureaus sent out, like, some articles came out stating, don't worry, it's no big deal. Just pay your bills on time, okay? Yes, we dropped your credit score tremendously. Don't worry, just start now paying your bills on time, okay? That's one solution. No late payments. Pay down your credit cards, meaning drop that utilization. Find ways to boost your credit score. Build your credit. This is what they're saying in preparation for the FICO 10 that was already released 3 years ago. So that's really not helping anybody. In all actuality, this is what you're supposed to do anyway. You're always supposed to pay your bills on time. Try not to make any missed payments, things like that. You're supposed to do that anyway. So that's not stopping or changing the outcome of the FICO 10T. So I have my own thoughts, my own solution. You could take it with a grain of salt, but this is what the only solutions I could think of to get around this major problem, this issue. So get your credit fixed ASAP. And I'm talking about yesterday, all right? So the sooner the better. Maybe it will take you a year and a half, 2 years. It shouldn't, with a good credit repair specialist such as myself, but it doesn't typically take 2 years, but just start the process. I mean, if your credit's bad and you know it's bad, you may not need anything today, but you're going to need something in the future potentially, and you'll need credit for it. And if they're going back 2 years and they're going back in time, you want to have good credit to show. You want a high credit score. Get rid of your student loan debt. I'm big on that. Like, one of the services I offer my clients is either student loan debt consolidation and forgiveness. Some people qualify for complete discharge. And the reason why I say the student loan debt, just to get rid of it, is because it has a major impact on your credit score. And I know we're supposed to be waiting on Biden. I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to happen to the degree that everybody's expecting. So in the meantime, we can help you fix it. I can help you. I will walk you through some things for those that like to do it themselves, but get rid of the debt as best as you can, clean it up. Ask lenders the right question. That is, I wish I could put like a circle around it. That is huge. And the reason why it's huge, because not every lender even knows that the FICO 10T exists. They don't even know what a FICO 10 is. They don't know what a FICO 9 is. We are still, like I stated earlier, in the FICO 8 stages, okay? For most companies. So the best thing to do would be to ask whomever you're asking for a loan from, just say, hey, just quick question, which FICO score are you using? And if you hear a simple answer, like a generic answer, like, oh, just your regular credit score, you know that person has no idea what they're talking about, right? So that's fine. But for sure, the underwriters definitely know which FICO scores that are being used. So if a lender tells you that they're using a FICO 10T, then, or even the FICO 10, like it depends. If you feel confident that you're good as far as the FICO 10 is concerned, cool. But if you are kind of shaky about FICO 10T, I suggest you go with a different lender. I know a lot of real estate agents that I deal with, they have a pretty good marriage with other lenders. But if those lenders are using FICO 10Ts, which most mortgage lenders shouldn't be, they've always been stuck in the FICO Classic 2, 5, and 4. You should be okay, but if for whatever reason they are saying a 10T, then you know you should go somewhere else, get your loan somewhere else. But just at least ask first. That's pretty important. That would avoid all of this. Start a business and get business credit. You know, I also help people create businesses and get business credit. I have a lot of options for people. A lot of people like funding yesterday. We can help with that. The reason why that's important is because, as you know, personal credit is completely different than business credit. Okay, it's more liberating. Some of the issues that you have on the personal side just don't exist on the business side. So get your credit fixed, try to create a business, even if you're like, I don't have a business. Everybody has a skill of something. Gift of gab, if you got the gift of gab, create some sort of, I don't know, talk service. I don't know, I can help you with ideas, but I'm not that quick off the top of my head. Some people do hair. Make your hustle your business, but get away from the personal credit because it's just going to get worse. If they're already talking about FICO 10T going back 2 years, what do you think is going to happen in the future? What are they going to have, a FICO 15 going back 5 years? I mean, I see that happening because the purpose is to keep people suppressed for the most part. And real quick, another thing as far as the release of the FICO 10T, during the pandemic, a lot of people were at home and many people took that time, because my company thrived during the pandemic, but they started fixing their credit. They started educating themselves on getting financial tips and ideas. They created their own businesses. People learned how to get business funding. And the reason why, this is my opinion from what I've seen, the reason why FICO 10T came out earlier is to kind of slow that down, to pump the brakes on that. In all actuality, during the height of the pandemic, I did see I saw like 2 or 3 of my clients, and I said a FICO 10. And I remember looking at that like, what is a FICO 10, right? Because it wasn't on my credit report. I didn't see it. And then it was removed. I think like 2 months later, it was removed off of their credit report. I think they were just testing out the FICO 10, FICO 10T, and then like 5 or 6 months later, they launched the FICO 10, FICO 10T. So think about that. And lastly, just accept the reality of what's happening. Okay, this is a reality. They're going to move forward with this. It's not going to get better, but it is going to stop a lot of consumers or prevent them from getting the credit that they would normally get, right? If no one was looking back 2 years. I deal with a lot of mortgage lenders all the time, real estate agents all the time. And before this FICO 10T, they would just say, oh, just fix your credit, come back to us, you're good. But if you're using a FICO 10T, it doesn't matter if your credit is fixed or not, especially if you had bad credit 2 years ago. Now, I'm gonna get out of this little PowerPoint just briefly because I want to show you guys an example. Let me get out of here. I want to show you an example with, how do I get out of here? Okay. Of what it looks like live. I actually have, she's like my favorite, she's not like, she is my favorite client. And she gave me permission to use her FICO report, her FICO score. I have this client and another client as part of my training. So you can see live exactly what's going on here, right? So this is her FICO, my FICO credit score. Now, when she was with me, she already had good credit. It was actually, her score was higher than this. Tony was in the 700s, if I'm not mistaken. And I think mid 700s. Yeah, I want to say 730, 740 when she was a client of mine. This is before the FICO 10. I'm not actively working on her credit because I got her where she needed to be. And then we're just still very close friends. But looking at this, as you can see, when you first log in, you go straight to FICO score 8. Okay, FICO score 8 is old. It's old, but it's the most used FICO score right now. Because like I said, companies don't catch up. It takes them a while. That's why it takes 5 years for them to release the next FICO credit score. But if you can see the difference in her credit score, right? So this is Equifax. Her credit score is fair, 653, 670, 670 for TransUnion and Experian, right? Now, this is her consumer score. Now, we're going to look at, let me see. Let's look at her credit card. Like if she wanted to go walk in and get a credit card, this is what they're going to run her credit report, and they're going to look at her bank card, her FICO bank card score 8. Look how her score drops. Pretty drastically, right? She's fair. She went from what, good to fair? Now that's if they use the FICO score 8. As you can see, it says widely used. FICO score 9, widely used. This is what was.
Tamiya, we can see the presentation.
Oh, you can't. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah,
It does that sometimes when you. Okay, when you flip screens. Hold on for a second. And I'm sorry, you guys were in the chat. Okay, what am I sharing? I got you guys. Okay, and I'll even go backwards. Can you see the screen? Wait. Okay. Let me try stopping and then sharing. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. You're welcome. Sometimes with Zoom, when you flip back and forth, it won't let you. So let me go backwards. So one last time, can you see this now? Because I went to the home page.
Yeah, the page that has my FICO score and then the 655, 760, 760.
Yes, excellent.
Sorry, 670, 670.
Yep, thank you. Yep, so this is, okay, so when you first log on, this is the score 8. This is your consumer score. This is the score that everyone sees, right? Now, I clicked on credit cards, and then I looked at FICO bank card score 8, and you can see the score dropped. She went from good to fair. She went from a 670 to 640, right? The FICO score 8, widely used. FICO score 9, let's click that. If they decide to run a FICO score 9. But as you can see the difference, this is a regular FICO score 9. This is a bank card score 9. There's a difference. Now, I'm sorry, score 8. Now this is a FICO bank card. So it's confusing for someone who doesn't know what to look for or what to ask for. Because in all actuality, the bank card score is something new. This is new. So what the higher ups are doing is they're trying to make it more and more difficult for the consumer to get approved. It's really that simple. They're saying to separate high risk from low risk. That, as you can see, that doesn't make sense. If you look at Tony's overall score, she was good credit, right? But once you break it down and micromanage it, then her score drops. Let's look at this FICO bank card score 5, 4, and 2. This is extremely old score. Nobody uses this. No one. Like if you just for fun call a credit card company, act like you're going to apply for a credit card, and then say, hey, what FICO scoring system do you use? And they'll tell you, and they won't know what a 5, 4, and 2 is. Like, just so you know, but look at her credit score, drastically different. You see that? Drastically. Now, I just wanted to give an example. We're back on the home page. Let's see what a mortgage score looks like. Okay. FICO score 5, 4, and 2. If she were to apply for a mortgage, this is what her credit score will look like. Her FICO 5, 4, and 2, most widely used for mortgage lenders, is a 618, 658, 699. Her average is 658. But what if she were able to have a middle score of 699? She would have a better interest rate, right? Oh, exactly. This is all a setup. Like, this is how I look at it. Now, let's look at the FICO 10. So this is, let's not forget, her basic FICO score rate, most widely used, is 653 and 670 twice. Now let's go to new versions. And this is her FICO 10, recently released, right? 610, 608, that's bad. That's bad. And 644. Okay. Now we're going to look at the FICO 10T that went back in time, and it dropped even lower. Okay. This is not good. And then her auto FICO 10T score, fair. And again, I know this client personally. Okay, this is her bank score, FICO 10. I know her personally. She has a good job. She's on top of her payments. Okay, and occasionally maybe she'll rearrange some stuff. Money might be tight, max out a card here and there, but for the most part, she's always had pretty good credit. Like even when I was working on her credit, it wasn't a lot for me to do. I didn't need to do much. Okay. So yeah, I had to give you guys like a live example of what was going on so you could see it. That was all current. That was as of today. Okay. So now we're having Q&A. I know I didn't mention this in the beginning, but my name is Tamiya Robles. I am the owner of Fix My Credit Now, 850.com. This is my contact information, all over social media, YouTube, and just everywhere. But I am most active on my Facebook group, or in my Facebook group, which is Credit and First Time Home Buyers Club. And if you happen to be a mortgage lender or real estate agent, I let you guys just advertise for free, do your thing. I have so many clients that need help. But anyway, I'm leaving this open for Q&A. So I know mostly everybody didn't get in. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to have to talk to customer service about that. But do you ladies have any questions for me?
Yes, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I had the question when you had mentioned about, opening up your own personal business.
Mhm.
So if your current personal card is being used, I'm just trying to figure out, how would that really help?
if your personal card is being used, you mean your credit card?
No, I just want to understand the concept with you opening up a business
Mhm. Okay,
to,
you can
you
transfer
know,
your debt from your personal side to your business side.
yeah.
So therefore, you're just think of it respectfully as living two different lives almost, but legally. And all the debt from your home, you might have, I don't know, an office building, you might have a car, your cell phone bill, your utilities. You can move that over your car note. You can move that over to your business side. Okay. With business, one of the big differences, major differences between business and personal credit is business side doesn't care about utilization. Just don't care. Actually, the more you spend, the better, because then they'll toss more money at you. Like, okay, you sound like you need some more money. Here you go. On the personal side, they don't do that, right? So it's almost like you're questioned, like, why do you need more money, right? Like, do you see all the debt you have already? And you can't move as freely on the personal side. I'm trying to say it in layman's terms, but for the most part, that is it. It's kind of like living off the grid almost. And if you can, and I haven't gotten here yet, but it's like, people have asked me to do a video on business credit. I will do that, but it's kind of like, you want to live under your business. And one thing you can do in business is you can create multiple EIN numbers, but you only have one social security number, right? So once you mess up on the personal side, you got to get credit repair, you got to do it yourself, you got to go back and forth with the bureaus. But with this FICO 10 and beyond, it's going to be next to impossible. So that's why I'm saying quickly fix your credit, shoot on to the business side, and don't even worry about the personal side. You can literally live off your business side with no problem. Just move the debt.
In a case, if you're looking to apply for a mortgage and you do this switch, does it show up on your mortgage report?
No, it will show
when
that
they're trying to.
your business owns your home. And I'm not a mortgage lender. I can have a mortgage person. I have associated with it, with tons of them. But no, whatever is on your business side does not show up on your personal side, and vice versa. You should never see it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's why I was telling people, like some of my clients would say, I don't know anything about business and I don't have a business. I said, listen, be the professional light flicker. Just make the company name, get that tax ID number going, get your Dun & Bradstreet, get your NAV, and go from there. And businesses.
What is the NAV? I have the Dun & Bradstreet, but what's the difference between Dun & Bradstreet and the NAV?
So credit bureaus. So NAV is like your FICO report, right? And then Dun & Bradstreet is like your bureau.
Sorry, gonna block my.
But on the business side.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So is it possible for me to like go to the city hall and be like, oh, I would like to put my light bills under my business name?
Yeah, that's what you should do. Put your car under there, put your phone, my phone, and it doesn't even take a long time. I had on my Facebook group, I could post it on Align. You guys came from Alignable, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll post a lot of stuff on Alignable. Maybe I should do that, duh. But I'll post it in the group, but I showed a link to an article that it's a great article. It walks you through it step by step as far as your car is concerned. When it comes to utilities, yeah, and it's simple. It's not even hard. Like, it's not hard. Like you can, I'm trying to remember, like the article itself, it was pretty lengthy, but it was lengthy because it was explaining in detail
Everything. Okay.
the benefit. It was a good read, trust me, because I'm not going to put something stupid on there and you're like, where am I going? But it explained why you should do it, the benefit of doing it. And then it just started breaking down. Step 1, do this. Step 2, go here and do, you know what I mean? And then they even said,
awesome.
if you get a little resistance, do this. So I had a friend of mine, she needed to do that. She didn't know she could, and she had like 5 cars, but she was trying to get a home, and the mortgage lender said, your income is great, but you have so much debt because of your 5 cars. And it was just hers. It was her and her son, and her son didn't even, she just liked having cars, but that's debt. That messes up your DTI, right?
Mhm.
So, but she opened some businesses, and I said, listen, move that debt over to the business and then ask for business funding, because they're going to see that you're already making steady payments on a debt on your business side. Banks are more inclined to give you a loan for a new business, you know, and especially if they see that you already have debt you've been paying on. She has no latenesses for years. She never missed a payment. She's one of those goody two shoes, but it was just on her personal, you know what I'm saying? It was just on her personal side. So she did, and I showed her the article, and then I asked her, she said, I'm going to explain everything, what I went through, so you can explain it in a class. So she physically went to the place and did it. And she said, the first woman in customer service didn't understand. So she was kind of like mouthy. And she said, well, just let me talk to your manager.
Somebody.
Yeah, he was. She said the whole thing took about maybe an hour. Yeah.
Okay, I need that article because I just bought a car and
Okay.
I'm trying to buy a house as well in the next few months. But my mom just bought a house. She has a 766 score, which her lender was like, this is the highest score I've ever seen, but still she's getting like 7% interest on this house. And I'm like, when I did mine, my score was 689 and I got 7%. So how is she with mine was 689, hers is 766. How are we getting the same interest rate?
So keep in mind, it's not, especially now more than ever, because everyone is adjusting now to this new FICO change.
Okay.
It's the whole financial environment has changed because of the pandemic. Too many of our kinfolk were excelling during the pandemic, and this is how to slow it down, right? So before the pandemic, it was strictly about your score. That statement would have made sense before the pandemic. Oh, she has a 7 such and such, and I have a 6 such and such. Her interest rate is lower, mine is higher. Now you're looking at the whole profile, which in a way isn't really fair, because I know people that have high credit scores and a whole lot of debt because they are investing. And some of them don't know how to invest on the business side, which is fine, but they invest with their personal, but they know how to pay the bills on time and things like that, but they use their personal, right? But that's not acceptable anymore. It was acceptable then, but it's not acceptable anymore. So it's the whole profile. How many inquiries? Too many inquiries. It looks like you're begging for money now, right?
Okay.
You could have a 700, but if you have 20 inquiries, they don't care. They're like, you're begging for money, we don't want you. But before the pandemic, they would overlook that and say, you have a 720. Forget everything else. You have a 720. How much do you want? Right? Now it's different. So they're looking at that. They're looking at your missed payment. And it's weird because having a missed payment, like I said, it's always been a problem, especially on a credit. But when I fix people's credit now, like they used to say, oh, the 30-day missed payment or the 60-day was 2 years ago. We're not worried about that. It's not affecting your credit score.
Credit score now. Yeah.
It does. Yes, it does. Because I've removed late payments from 1.5 years ago, and I've seen somebody's score go up 70 points just with that. So they're not being truthful. Okay. But yeah, it's the whole profile. It's the debt to income. The authorized user, are you authorized user? And it's a lot of things that factor into it now. So you got to look at everything.
Gotcha. So I just opened up a credit card for my business like 5 months ago.
Yes, ma'am.
And I have my mom and my sister on there. How is that going to help them?
Yeah, it doesn't help on the business side.
Okay.
It would if it was personal. on the personal.
Gotcha.
side. Mhm.
Okay,
Because remember, business and personal aren't.
are separate.
Mhm.
Okay,
So think of your EIN as your social security number and your business as your name. So if your business is 123, you know, car lot, and then the EIN number is 123, and you're putting mom and sis on that credit card, that's not connected to a person. You know, it's not giving the track record of a person, it's giving the track record of a business.
okay,
They don't own and have nothing to do with. They don't have a NAV report. They don't have Dun and Brush. You know what I mean? So you
Gotcha.
want to get but the thing about getting approved with credit cards, it opens the floodgates of on personal and business. They all talk to each other now. So don't think that they don't. Okay. And they all feed off of what is on your credit report and the
The
bank.
business and gotcha.
So just because, I mean, don't feel bad that you did that, but you could just easily just get a credit card and put them on that. Just be careful, because every time you open a new account, it takes away the history and the years that you have. But
Exactly.
you should be fine. There's ways around that too. I know.
Okay.
Like, there's ways around that too.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Whew.
Also, I was trying to figure out which state are you located in?
I live in California,
Oh, okay.
but I do work on all 50 states.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've been in California. Do you usually come and visit other states, or?
I can, as long as there's enough people that want me, sure. But I'm a Philly
Okay.
girl, so that's why you see the 267. I'm Philly all day. So I literally just moved out here. And yeah, if I have to go to East Coast, Georgia, what have you, I'm there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I'm in Florida, and yeah. I figured that, yeah, I was trying to do a event to have like first time home buyers and so on, but I'd need someone, to
I
physically
don't
be
mind
there.
flying out. I don't mind
Well,
flying
it
out.
all depends. Well, I was going to do a Facebook blast to invite as many people as possible
Mhm,
to get them educated about their credit and what they need to do,
mhm.
and at the same time for me to get new potential business as well. So,
That's
but
smart. So here's an idea. It's up to you. I do a lot. I'm on YouTube. And I also, like I said, on my Facebook page, I interview people within the industry or anybody ever pertaining to the financial industry. And I can interview you, blast it everywhere. If you need that, join the group, post up, they love to attend the Zoom. It just gives you an idea of how many people would be interested. I got people in Florida, it's not difficult. I think that would be great for home buyer training are huge, and they all need credit repair specialists. That's what I'm working on out here as well. And I also have a nonprofit organization that's nationwide, and it's called The Movement, and it's predominantly real estate agents and lenders and all that. Everywhere I go, that's what I'm dealing with. So,
Wow.
yeah.
well, coming back to this business thing, if you have a credit card with a certain company, and well, I'm not sure about what all this Dun and Bradstreet and stuff is, a NAV, because all I have is my LLC and it's registered to get my EIN. With that being said, even if your credit cards are past the utilization rate, you could still get approved for a business credit.
On the business side or the personal?
The business.
Yeah.
Yes.
The key is to pay early, not on time. It's like the old saying, you're on time when you're early, you're late when you're on time. It's that type of mentality for the business side. They don't
Well, I
care.
typically, well, personally, I
They don't,
typically pay like 5 days or so
yeah, they can,
before.
on the business side, they could care less if you're maxed out, as long as you're making the payments early and being consistent with that. Usually after within 3 to 6 months, you've proven yourself, they'll say, oh, we see you maxed out. You need some more, a couple 100,000. All right.
Technically, no, I don't want none of that. The only reason why I had to use them more is because with the pandemic, the jobs weren't really, because I also work a full-time job. The industry, people didn't know if they should hire, if they should not. And yeah, work at home was switching and everything. So
Yep.
that's about it. So
Okay, ladies. Well, I do not want to take up too much of your time. I'm gonna wrap this up, but I have to do this regularly. I'm gonna do other Zooms in between. I know, like I said, everybody's asking me about business credit, to do a video for that. I haven't created one yet, but I will. I will post, about probably within the next 2 hours, I'll post about moving your car over to the business side. That was a great article. But yeah, just keep looking out for more training. And I gotta figure out how to, I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry, Jennifer.
Jennifer?
Jennifer, of course.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Did you have trouble getting on?
Yes.
Okay.
I kept getting in, and then the part where it like brings in your camera so you can check and see, kind of like preview your thing. When I clicked OK, it will kick me out. So I had to turn off my computer because I was like, oh, maybe my computer is messing up or something. So I had to turn off my computer and restart, and it did it twice again. And then I literally had to use my mom's computer too.
Wow. I don't know, because this is the second Zoom call where a whole bunch of people, like if you look, you'll see people wanting to come in, and it's like they're not allowing people in. I don't get it. So I gotta get to the bottom of it. But yeah, I just hate to have all these Zoom meetings and then people are missing it, but it's recorded. I'll edit it and then I'll post it. But this is going to be pretty major, ladies. This is
awesome. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm really excited about it because as somebody that's started a business and still learning about credit and planning on buying a house, I want to make sure that I understand this and I'm not just relying on the people I'm going to ask money to like, hopefully they'll be good people. No, I need to understand this for myself and be able to make good decisions, because after what you just talked about, because I was like, it doesn't make sense. I felt like I did a good job paying my credit card in advance. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, okay, it showed that I had $1,500 in credit. I spent $300. And the next time that I checked, it showed that I only had $500 left because my credit card, I have a $2,000 limit. And every time I would spend money, I'll turn back around and pay for it. Because I'm like, I want to make sure I build good credit and everything. So should I go and ask for an increase, or even that I want a loan that they can see that I'm paying my stuff, not just on time, but early enough and on a regular basis. So like my payment is supposed to be $49, but I pay $100 to $150. But what I would do, I will pay $70.
Pay twice.
Yeah. So I will break it up at the beginning of the month and then toward the end of the month. And then, so that way, whenever they send my report to the credit bureau, it shows that I've already made a payment.
So do you know when they send it to the bureau? Have you?
For mine, I think it's the 13th of the month, although it says that my bill is due on the 16th.
Right. So it's usually 2 to 3 business days after the due date. So when you're trying to lower your credit, so when I do people's credit, I have a free consultation, right? And I do ask them to purchase, I'm partnered with SmartCredit. I do ask them to purchase their 3B report, which is their credit report, through the link that I give them, right? And then in the consultation, I'll look at their whole entire credit profile. Some customers do not need credit repair. They need to know how to manage their credit card debt.
Credit card. Mm,
You understand what I'm saying?
yes.
So a lot of times, so I'll explain, there's two important dates. You need the date that the bill is due and the date that it's going to report to the
report.
credit bureau. That will change your life. So they do like it when you pay twice, but make sure you're paying 2 times before the statement date, and make your statement date 2 days in your mind, if you want to put on your calendar, 2 days before or 3 days before their statement date, because banks like to be funny and they don't count Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as a weekday.
Ah,
It's a game. You understand?
okay. Mhm.
So you want to give yourself that time frame, because if it falls off on one of those days and you're late, and it's like, hey, I wasn't late, and they'll mark you late before they fix it. And they never really want to fix it.
Fix it.
Because you
Mhm.
can say it was a holiday, I paid, right? So like when I look at credit reports, I see people where they have it as 1/1/2007. This was the new year. Who was open? No bank was open. You know what I'm saying? You lied. Fix it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a game. It's a game, but
Man,
a lot of
it's
times, sometimes
that
my
bad?
clients don't need credit repair. They just need education.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, all right, ladies, I'm going to be back on probably in a couple of days. I'm going to keep posting, but before I want to post like 2 times, have calls like 2 times a week, but I got to get this thing straightened out first. So I'm going to slow walk it until I can get the Zoom thing fixed. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. And I look forward to the next meeting.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, you guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
Thank
good
you.
one.
Have
You're
a nice night.
welcome. You too. Bye-bye.